Thank you for joining me once again on Global Conference TV. You are watching Inspired Conversations, Living the Legacy with Legends. If you close the room for learning, you will actually not end in life. People who are growing and developing are people who have given their lives on learning. Jerry Bangude have written an entire book explaining what he have learned through his experience and situations. And he's here today to share more about his book. Mr. Jerry, thank you very much for coming, and yes, you are welcome.
Yes, thank you, great man, for having me. It is indeed an honor to be here today. I'm very thankful, sir.
Thank you. Now,
Jerry Bangude is a young man who come from Kutung in Carltonville. I come from a very poor family. At home, we were so poor that they said will never amount to anything in life, but they did not know that my condition is not my conclusion. Therefore, I will never allow my condition to determine my conclusion. Then I took a decision that being born in a poor family, it's not my fault. It will be my fault when I die poor. Then I took a decision that, you know what, I'm going to get out of this poverty family background and make something out of my life. So yeah, Jerry is a young man who comes from a small township in Kutung, who believed in himself and who still believes in himself that the world is your oyster, anything and everything is possible.
That's great. And Mr. Jerry, I mean, you believe also in learning, you know, that in life you must actually take lessons from your experience and your situations. Yes. Hence you wrote a book here, I have learned, you know, explaining what you have learned through your experience and your situation, your circumstances. Yes. But what inspired you actually?
What inspired me most, I think honestly speaking, was the fact that I remember sitting with my sister in the room. You know, we were tired of poverty. And my teacher in high school, basically, chapter 1 of my book, it says, a teacher that changed my life. He said, the only thing that can get you out of poverty, it's education. And even Nelson Mandela confirmed it, that through education, anything and everything is possible. Then that's how I took education serious, because I believed that it is the only tool that can get me out of poverty. I worked hard, and I also believe that when you learn, you are able to earn. That's how I was inspired to get out of the situation and to write.
And the challenges that you've mentioned, is it only the poverty that actually pushed you, or is there any other challenges that actually was part of your inspiration?
Not only poverty, but domestic violence, domestic abuse. It's also one of the challenges that inspired me to be a better man, because I believed that through education as a man, you can be equipped to become a better person. So that's how I took a decision to say, you know what, this is domestic violence, and for me to get out of this situation, I need to take my education serious. Not only that people look down on us, you know, in my community, in my relatives extended, they look down on us. It was only through education that they respected us. And at home, there was no one who was educated. So I said, I'm going to be the first person to have a matric in my family. I became the first. I'm going to be the first graduate in my family. I became the first graduate. Everything, I said, it starts with me, poverty ends with me. Then, as we speak now, I have broken that curse of no education. Now, it's a blessing of education. My sister now is in university, and we believe that the upcoming generation will also be educated.
I mean, I believe that's where Take Pride initiative came in there. And can you just explain to us what actually do you do?
Yes. What I do is that I encourage people to take pride in education, because I believe that for me to be who I am today, it is through education. So now I took a decision to come up with an initiative called Take Pride in Education, whereby I go to communities, I encourage people that you must, especially young people, that they must take their education serious. I always make a statement that education is like water. You will never realize how important water is until it's not there. You understand? So young people must take their education very serious in everything that they do. Every year I host seminars in my community. I call it personal development and career guidance seminar, whereby I call graduates who made it in one central area so that they tell young people how they made it. So if I do it every year January so that we give a clear direction. So now I've been approached by my friends who are starting a non-profit organization whereby we'll be focusing on the grade 9s so that we target them on that level, because that's the foundation, so that when they move forward they know where they're going.
Now, Mr. Jerry, apart from education taking people, or rather young people maybe, out of poverty, what is actually the role of education in a community?
The role of education is to shape people to become better citizens, and for them to think positively. You understand? So I always like to also make this statement that even if you have a dream of becoming a musician, education is important anyway, because in that field you'll find yourself in a situation whereby you'll want to record or enter into deals. You must be able to read and interpret. So education will help you in that manner. You understand? So education helps us to become better citizens and to think positively.
Oh, that's great. And I mean, just tell us about the lessons that you learned. Let's start from school, because in your book I think you mentioned the lessons that you took from university and also, but let's start from school. What are the lessons that actually you took? I mean, you just mentioned earlier, apart from what you have mentioned, that one of your teachers actually encouraged you, you know, that for you to get out of poverty, you must take education seriously. But what are the other lessons that you took that have shaped who you are today?
The other lessons that I've took is that change does not only happens outside, it also happens in the classroom. Lessons that I have learned: number one, failure is not your conclusion, but it's your condition. When I was doing grade 9, I failed grade 9. I became a failure. And the most painful thing was that I was the only one in my class who failed. Everyone proceeded to the next grade. You can imagine being called a failure. I took a decision that this is not the end. In my life, I will never ever fail again. And I've never failed. Even at university, I completed record time both my degrees. You understand? So I learned that failure is not the end. In life, when you fail, you need to accept that this time I have failed. But how do you stand up? You need to move forward, because life does not revolve around one event. Life goes on. And perseverance is the mother of success. So I had to pick myself up. I had to move forward. The other lessons was on friendship. As a person, the type of friends you keep will determine your distance in life. You cannot surround yourself with people who are going to drag you down all the time. I had to choose my friends right. And the challenge about us as youth back then was that I used to impress my friends. When I failed, I was alone. No one was there. The people that I impressed were not there anymore. So those are the lessons, that sometimes we impress our friends, and then when we impress our friends, we never go anywhere. The other thing, the biggest also lesson that I've learned was that after matric, I remember I started discovering my purpose in matric when I was asked to speak to matriculants. That's why I said, I want to do this. And then my other friend said, yes, Mr. Jerry, you want to be a motivational speaker, but what do you have? And then I did not have a knowledge that you still can be the best speaker without education. You understand? No, let me study law. Then once after law, then I'll continue with my motivational speaking, Jane. Is that she advised me that in any way, education is important. So I had to undergo that process of education, and in that journey, it was a journey before it was a story. I learned so much lessons about friendship, failure, the power of your dream, believing in yourself, and discovering your purpose.
And let's go to university. At university, what are the lessons that actually you took?
The lessons that I actually took was that discipline, number one, is that in life you need to be disciplined. If you don't have discipline, you are on your way to distraction. I had to discipline myself. I had to know what is important and what is not important. You understand? I also learned the power of acceptance, which is chapter 1 of my second book. The power of acceptance, that in life, anywhere you go, you need to accept that there will always be someone better than you. I wore 2 pairs of shoes, whereas my roommate had about 10 pairs of shoes. But because I come from a certain family, I can't compare myself with him. I need to accept, because acceptance brings about prosperity in life. You understand? In that way, I was able to prosper. You understand? So quite a few lessons. Also that in life, everywhere you go, you must network. I was not only at university to add the numbers, but I was there to network. I can guarantee you now, in the country, in every province that I go, I know someone, at least one person there. You understand? So in life, you need to always network. And the other thing is that respect everyone, because you'll never know that person might be your future employer or not. You understand? I learned the importance of humility and respecting everyone.
That's powerful. So you didn't actually came out with the certificates and say, no, I've learned, I've graduated with this, that's what I've learned. But you learned so much.
Yeah, I did not leave university certified, but I left university capacitated, because we want to create a generation of leaders and people who are not going to be certificated but capacitated. I always make a statement that I can have all the degrees in the world, but if they don't benefit my community, they are useless.
Exactly. But Mr. Jerry, share with us, we speak about education and university. What actually you did and what actually you achieved from university? Like the degree, can you just share with us? Many people don't know.
At university, when I arrived, I studied BA Law with Political Sciences. And then I fell in love now with politics and law at the same time. Then I was an active young person. Then in university, I got Golden Key International. They award top 15 academic achievers in a specific field of study. It's an international body that recognizes academics. I got that in the top 15. Then when I arrived in university, I was in leadership. I became the Constitution and Transformation Officer. Then we went to camps as I was learning there. And then the other achievement was that I went to SRC also. I was the Secretary General there. Then I was a member of Northwest University Institutional Forum. Then in my term of leadership, when I was the primarias, the chairperson of my residence, my team under my leadership won the best house committee because of teamwork. So I achieved quite a lot, did community engagement. I got out of comfort zones, because great things never happen in our comfort zone. For you to do great things, you need to get out of your comfort zone and you need to believe in yourself. Because when I arrived at university, I could not even speak English properly. Because now we come from township schools whereby if you try and express yourself, but look how we get a better, they laugh at you. So I had to get out of my comfort zone. I had to speak even if I didn't know how to be fluent. Sometimes you'd raise a hand out of 500 students, try to answer and they will laugh at you, but I never got discouraged. In fact, I got more encouraged to learn. You understand? So yeah, I think those are the achievements. Then I did my honors in politics when I was still in SRC. So, and you need to understand it's difficult to juggle between leadership and academics, especially on the level of postgrad. But I came out victoriously. I passed my honors with a distinction in research, which is the most fundamental aspect of doing postgrad. Got a distinction, then I graduated. Now in my book I have a chapter called The Power of Balance, whereby now I teach leaders, because in leadership, history has taught me that those who are in leadership, mostly they don't do well in the academics. Not because they are dumb or whatever, it's because of how they don't know how to balance between academics and all, and being in leadership. So that's how I teach that, this is how you balance so that you can come out a successful leader.
No, that's a great stuff. Now, I want to know, because one of the reasons that actually inspired you to come up with this initiative, Take Pride in Education, is because of you saw a lot of dropouts and you wanted to close that gap. But let's talk about the challenges. What are the challenges that actually make students to drop out?
At university level or high school, any level?
Any level, yes.
Okay. Number one is challenges. Background. My first book was supposed to be Never Allow Your Current Circumstances to Determine Your Destiny. Then the title was too long. Then we had to shorten it, but the message was still the same. Okay. Was that sometimes young people give up because at home they are poor, there's nothing that they can do. Now I came with this to close the gap, to say, no, never allow your current conditions to determine your conclusion. I come from a poor family. I had to work hard and it worked out. So you can also do it if I can do it. Exactly. You understand? Yeah. So that's how I encourage more people to say, no, work hard. The other thing was that that made me to love education so much and to encourage young people is the fact that someone who was more clever and better than me is sitting in the township asking me for 2 rand. That's painful. Yeah. You understand? Yeah. They could have done better. So now I don't want any other people to fall into that situation, to stand at the corners and ask people for 2 rand. We need to tell them that it's possible. Go out there, do the best, be the best. Yeah.
And university level. Okay, one of the things that I want us to touch on is the issue of finance. I mean, we know that many students drop out because of finance. But how are we going to solve that?
Finance is also a reality. I've seen young people that I mentored who dropped out because of financial issues, financial problems. That one already, the government is already tackling it now. They're speaking on free education, and I liked what NSFAS did. If you are a first year, when you sign a contract, when you sign it up until you finish. Whereas back then, it was not the situation.
Yeah, every year you're supposed to register.
Every year you're supposed to register. Now at least things are gonna get better. Yeah. But now the challenge, to also curb this challenge of dropout rate is that students must be told just because education is free doesn't mean you must fail. If you fail, you are responsible for that module. You understand? Of which they're also doing that. They're also going there. But I want to say that back then in our generation, it was tough because I remember me when I was doing my undergrad was that I was getting money for food. I was not getting money for food. I was getting money for tuition fee and then rest and then for books. I was not getting money for food, so I had to hustle, eat while studying. So back then it was tough, but things are now getting better. You understand? So there are no excuses for any young person not to go to varsity. NSFAS is free. They give you everything.
Yeah, no, that's great. And someone is sitting there at home, dropping out. And one of the things, again, is the issue of, you spoke about that you studied from township schools. And when you get to university, it's a different level of education. Yeah. And many students fail because of not being able to reach that standard of university. But here you are, from township, you managed to achieve and have those degrees. What can you say to those students who are thinking that, for me to go to university, I have to study at middle school, what can you say to them?
No, for you is that for you to get there, you must have a willpower. You must be willing to learn. You understand? You must be willing to learn and you must believe in yourself. That it doesn't matter where I come from. I'm the best and I'm going to be the best in everything that I do. It all starts with you inside, the inner you. Do you believe in yourself? So you need to believe in yourself so much that nothing will stop you. The other thing I spoke about, willing to learn. When I arrived at university, it was my first time meeting a computer. I could not even do Word document. But there were like small courses that teaches us that. I took that. You understand? Because I was willing to learn. University, they have resources, they have psychologists, they have what? Where you struggle, you go there, you make use of the resources so that you can come out better. You understand? And you must never care about what people say. You must not suffer from Batubatarin syndrome. Keep on pushing, build yourself so that when you come out of university, you are a better person. If you are not getting a job, you can make a job. You understand? So I would say to young people, believe in yourself, be willing to learn, make use of the university resources because everything is there. Your psychologist, everything is there in every university. They call it academic development and support.
Now, someone is sitting there at home, Mr. Jerry. Yes. He's not having matric, he's not having any academic qualifications. Is it finished with that person because he does not have those qualifications, he's not educated? Are we saying it's finished with him, with that person?
No. I believe that it's not over yet. they can still pick themselves up and they can still make the best out of that worst situation by first starting to take to go back to school, body night school, because in my knowledge is that now that they see that some people struggle with maybe 7 subjects, you can take two up until you finish. So it's still possible. It's not over. It's still possible for you to stand up and go to school and then go to university. I've studied, and one of the things that shaped me is that when I was in university, I was studying with old people. You understand? I was studying with this other great man that I look up to, Mr. Molefe. He's very old, studying with Osman Nekaba, people that really shaped and make me a better person. When they were with me, city, they told me that education, you never get old. For you to get education, must always get education. So it doesn't matter how old you are, you can keep on pushing. You go to university, you find old people who are married, who are still studying because they never gave up. So it's not over. As a young person, you need to stand up and go study. Because now there are free scholarships, the education is for free, so there's no excuse really.
No, that's a great stuff. One thing the last thing that maybe I want you to comment on, Mr. Jerry, just to give an insight on that. I mean, Robert Kiyosaki says, education system teaches people to be employees, while he himself teaches people to be employers. And I mean, he's challenging education system about that we don't have financial literacy at schools and, at our universities. What can education system, what can be done about that current education system where we see that many students are taught to become employees and not employers?
I actually agree with him, and I love that statement. This one is a difficult one because we most of young people, we come from those underprivileged families, exactly, yeah, whereby they are looking up to you. No one will take care of your family, yeah, which will make it difficult for you to follow your dream. But it takes courage. When I went to university, I studied, I did my honors. When I came back, I said, you know what, I want to follow my dream, I want to pursue my purpose. It has not been easy because at home they were expecting that, no, our child will be successful at after university, just straight. And there's also community pressure. Because you come from university, you must work. No. So it needs courage for you to defy the system. So it depends on the circumstances, honestly, for you to say that I was born to employ people, not to be employed. You understand? Yeah. Also, it needs patience. People need to master the art of being patient. Because once you are patient, you are able to say, you know what, in all circumstances, I'm staying. You understand? So I took a decision that I am staying and I am going to employ people in future. You understand? So it takes really a strong courage.
On the same note, Mr. Jerry, the gifts and talents are actually not being promoted. if you look at our education system, I mean, we were taught that for you to be successful, you have to be an engineer, you have to be a doctor. And we actually ignored the issue of our gifts and talent, God-given talents and gifts. You understand? So what can you say on that? Does it also need a courage for one to say, okay, I'm educated or I'm not educated, but I believe that there is a talent or a gift that, I mean, there are a lot of people that we know who are billionaires because of their gift, not because of their education, but not condemning education, of course. Yes. But like people like Cristiano Ronaldo, the Williams sisters, David Beckham, you name them. Those people are billionaires because of what they are doing, of their gifts and talents. So does it also need courage or?
Yes, it definitely needs courage, that one. Casper Nyovest left Mafikeng. He said, I'm coming to Joburg. And he says, I was 16 when I decided that it will come true. As we speak today, look where Casper is. Exactly. He's provoking our dreams, all of us as young people who look up to him. So it takes courage also to say, you know what, this is my gift, this is my talent, I believe in it, and it will work out. We always have these debates with our friends, even now, to say, me when I grow up, when I have children, when they say they want to do art, music, I won't discourage them, I'm going to support them. Why? Because they believe that out of your gift, out of your talent, you can be the best and you can make a living out of it.
Exactly.
Yeah, we find ourselves in a cornered situation whereby when you go speak at a school, you can't discourage education.
Yeah.
You understand? Because those people are learning, but it is dangerous to discourage education.
Yeah.
It's a difficult corner that we find ourselves in, but it needs a strong courage to say, you know what, this is my gift, this is my talent, I believe in it. And also family backgrounds. I made a statement in my book that some dreams are dead because of family members. You understand? If your family don't support you, you get discouraged. You need to believe in your dream so much that even your family will follow you. Because before we can believe in your dream, you need to believe in your dream yourself first. Yeah. Then we'll follow. My family followed me. I know when I make an event, I'm sitting with 4 people already, which is my family first. Yeah. You understand? So you need to believe. You need to have courage. It goes back to courage. In my book, I make a statement that courage is leadership, and courage starts when you have the ability to sit in the front seat of a taxi and count money. How many people are scared to do that? They would rather allow a taxi to move. You understand? Yeah. So that's where courage starts. You need to take courage in everything and be number one.
Mr. Jerry, thank you so much for this inspirational talk. In 5 years to come, where do we see Mr. Jerry?
Definitely in 5 years to come. In 5 years to come, I will be traveling the world. Definitely inspiring people, speaking lives into the lives of other young people, and I would have published quite few books then, and pushing my brother. To me, it's all about the dream. I always say that my generational mandate is clear: to save a dream, a soul, and a vision from dying without saving the world. Yeah. So I will be going out there in communities to save dreams, to push. To me, it's not about the income, but it is about the outcome. Yeah. I need to add value to humanity so that I leave a legacy. I need to play my role. I believe that each and every one was born with a solution in someone else's life. You understand? Yeah. So I'm carrying dreams and visions in my shoulders. If I give up, they all gonna die. So I need to keep on pushing. So to many more books in the next 5 years, to traveling, to speaking, to empowering leaders, and to also, upholding and taking young people in my community and mentoring other young people to be the best that they can be, because I've mentored other young people. One of the ladies who contributed in my book, she is now here at ABSA in Joburg head office. You understand? If I can do it with her, I can do it with many other young people in communities.
No, that's empowering. That's empowering indeed. And if people want to get hold of you, getting your books, getting to book you, just to go and empower, because I've seen lately you are also doing a lot at schools. You are empowering, motivating, tricks.
Yes.
So if people want to get hold of you, just to inquire more about your services,
they can go on Instagram. It's Jerry_Bangude, and then Facebook I have a page, Jerry Bangude Inspirational Page, and then then I have Facebook, it's Jerry Bangude, and then my phone numbers, it's 083-890-3623. 083-890-3623. Then if you want a book, you can contact me. Then the book will be delivered to you by my team. You understand? We will still go to shelves. We're still building the brand, and we're still building it from the ground. But we are pushing, and we're thankful for the support, because in 2 months we sold over 155 copies. Right. And we had a sold-out book launch. That's the grace of God. Yeah. You understand? And in everywhere I go, everywhere I speak, I will never conclude without speaking about God. Because in Him I live, in Him I move, in Him I have my being. You understand? With Him, everything and anything is possible. Because He's God who never fails. He always keeps His promises. You understand? So I've seen God doing great and mightier things. Because in life I discovered that there are 4 types of people, as also the great Monroe puts it, that there are people who make things happen, there are people who watch things happen, there are people who wait for things to happen, and there are people who wonder what happened. So as people, we must never find ourselves wondering what happened. Instead, we need to make things happen, because this is our time, and this is our time to shine. We can be the best that we can be if we believe in our dreams and ourselves.
I will say amen for that. All right. Thank you, Mr. Jerry. Thank you so much for your insight, knowledge, and understanding. And I mean, we are inspired. We're inspired. Just continue to empower and build our nation.
Yes, my brother.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was Jerry B, who was saying, education is the only way that will take you out of poverty. Nelson Mandela said, education is a powerful tool that you can use to change the world. It is only through education that we will build our nation. You are watching Inspired Conversations on Global Conference TV. My name is Unkarabile Mukoto, and I'm saying to you, the journey continues.